Hey guys, this is Jay Calderon with Jay Unboxing here, giving you my personal prediction for the Vergil Ortiz versus Maurice hooker contest taking place in Fort Worth, Texas. Now, before we really get started, let me just refresh you and tell you that remember, this is just my take. Your take can be left down in the comments, and I'd love to hear them. As mentioned, this is Ortiz versus Hooker. No title on the line in this welterweight clash, more of a step-up fight than anything else. Will be taking place at the Dickies Arena, as mentioned, in Fort Worth, Texas, on Saturday night, and of course airing on DAZN here in the United States. Very interesting fight, in my opinion. Hooker's still young enough that he will want to win. This isn't just him showing up for a payday. He'll want to take this young prospect turning contender out and put himself back into title contention. And of course, Ortiz will be looking to make a statement against the best fighter he's probably faced as a professional in a former world champion in his own right. So it should be a compelling watch. So let's get into what I think both fighters need. For Hooker to win, I think he needs to double up that jab. Hooker has a very solid jab, but Ortiz is a strong-headed fighter and may look to walk through that initial jab. Therefore, varying that shot up by doubling up the jab, even changing speed on it sometimes, will allow Hooker to offset Ortiz and force him to have to reset his attack. What he can also have to, I think he has to keep in mind, is not to hook with the hooker. Now this, not to be funny here, but Hooker has a hook that's a little too wide sometimes. And if he looks to trade with an Ortiz who has faster hands and tighter hooks, that's going to spell trouble. Ortiz just is the faster guy in that respect, so he wants to make his shots a little more direct and then use that length, hopefully to at least catch Ortiz on the end of those shots. He'd be better with simple 1-2s, or even, as mentioned, the 1-1-2, especially initially before he starts setting more of those traps he might look to set. I would also say for Hooker not to step straight back. Finally, Hooker here would have his best chance stepping to the side versus taking those direct shots backwards. Again, if you make it easier for the bigger man to just walk right in, you give yourself less chances to be successful. So creating those angles, again, trying to offset the rhythm of Ortiz is going to do him a tremendous deal of good, because his younger foe builds momentum. If you can stall that in any way, that's obviously going to benefit you. For Ortiz to win, I think he needs to start off by varying his power shots. Ortiz has a very decent bit of pop in his punches and some speed to go along with it. However, as competition gets better, Ortiz will need to look to change what he puts into every single shot. Keep his opponents guessing. Sometimes maybe add a little more speed with a little less pop, maybe the other way around, but either way, he needs to vary it just a little bit more against the more nuanced opponents such as Hooker. What he'll also need to do, and this will serve him very well, is to use his angles. Again, as he's trying to cut off that ring, especially if Hooker does play a more defensive role as the smaller guy, he needs to make sure he's stepping to the sides as opposed to just coming in so directly, and again, forcing his opponent to have to kind of trap himself against the ropes or in those corners. Ortiz can also help neutralize that movement of Hooker by stepping to the side and cutting off the ring, which is then going to allow for him to land cleaner shots. And the shots I think he should be most looking for is that left hook. He has a good one. It's fast. He's responsible with it when he throws it. He can be hit, Ortiz, but he's pretty good at making sure he doesn't get the brunt end of it and just more of a grazing shot, things like that. So throwing that left hook is a reasonable gamble, and especially when he has a better hook, I believe, than Hooker does. Now that shot might make Hooker pay the most, so it really is something he should emphasize, but do it again in a more nuanced way. Don't make it so direct. And that can also help line Hooker up and, of course, help with cutting off the rope as well. So he has a lot more, or cutting off the escapes rather as well. So it just gives him a lot more options in his attack. My pick here is pretty simple. While it might take him some time to figure it out, I do feel Ortiz will break his man down and earn himself a stoppage. Ortiz will miss more than usual. He might not look as dazzling as he has against lesser foes, but that's to be expected. I think he's still going to look pretty damn good. And he'll make it count when he lands. Might not land as often, but he'll make it count. The left hook and the left hand in general will be key, and once he starts backing his man up in more direct lines, the stoppage will come. Ortiz via mid to maybe late, but I'll stick with mid-fight stoppage. Betting odds for this fight, Ortiz is an overwhelming favorite for the fight, perhaps to a silly degree. He's at a minus 1,200. Hooker is at a plus 650 for the underdog role there. And again, yes, smaller man, but considering he's a former world titleist, that would have thought it would perhaps be a little bit closer, but there's definitely some room there for a bet if you think Maurice will come out with a surprise win, of course. For me personally, as a guy backing Ortiz, this is one I'd probably just stay away from. Prediction record going into this weekend is 6-4-1 with 3 exact, so let me know what you guys think as well down in the comments. Would love to hear your thoughts, predictions, bets, so on and so forth. Please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and follow. Appreciate it anytime you do any of that. At jcalderon_JOB, and you can email me at junboxing@gmail.com. Would love to hear from you there. Also, be sure to check out junboxing.com for schedule, results, betting odds, rankings, and more. And as always, until next time.